Good morning. Good morning. Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. This is Antoinette Marie from Antoinette Marie Speaks. I just wanted to come on just really quick to say Happy Labor Day to you all. I hope that everything that you have decided to do today brings you joy and brings you peace on this beautiful, beautiful day. And I wanted to just give you a little bit of a fun fact. Hey, Amadeus, Andrew. If you want to come on with me this morning, Andrew, just let me know, and I will bring you on, okay? I hope you do. But I wanted to just give you just a little bit of fun facts for today. So Labor Day actually started in 1882 in New York City, right? And it really was, the intention was to help commemorate American workers and the strength and the power and the zeal that they brought to the American workforce and the economy. And so that's why we celebrate Labor Day, 1882, September the 5th, in New York City. The other reason why I'm coming on, and I'm trying IG, Instagram, because I usually go on a different platform, but I wanted to be very versatile this morning. Yes, 1882. That's right, Amadeus. So the other thing too is I wanted to let everybody know. So last week on Antoinette Marie Speaks, I had on the show a young woman by the name of Tracy Randolph. We call her the Reset Coach, and Tracy is spectacular. She did an awesome job on last week. And so I got several people that asked me a little bit more about her story. And one of the things I always say when it's about somebody else's story, that you really should talk to them individually about their story. And so if you want to get in contact with Tracy Randolph, she's on IG, she's on Facebook, and she actually has a new channel that is coming out called Whole Living. She'll talk to you a little bit more about that, but reach out to her. Her name is Tracy Randolph. She is the Reset Coach. She is the individual that I go to whenever I am continuing to stay fit and working on my abs and all of that, and just eating well. She is a certified nutritionist as well as a certified life coach. So if you want more information, go to her. I won't tell her story. We're just so blessed to have her here with us because she is a breast cancer survivor. So I wanted to just say that. The other thing is that this coming week, which is actually tomorrow, y'all, tomorrow my special guest is going to be none other than the Miss Shanice Hempfield. Shanice is a blogger, she is an entrepreneur, and she also is a fantastic business owner. She's a mom, and she's an investor. And so we're going to have her on tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. The other thing too is on last week Thursday, there was so much that was happening last week, but on last week Thursday, I was a guest speaker for the Love of Queens episode with the Brandy Johnson and Carrie Crosby. And so on that broadcast, if you haven't seen it, it was on Facebook. Go on there, and I think it's on my site as well. If you want to see it, hit the replay. You can definitely see that. But the reason why I want to speak about it is because I spoke a lot about how to transition well. And a portion of that broadcast, I spoke about interest rates and a little bit about financial etiquette, and I'm just really kind of amazed that so many people that GM'd me, I think DM, it's called DM. I'm still learning, y'all, about, helping them with their finances and things such as that. So I want to do a really intentional disclosure. I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not any of that. I learned the hard way by making a lot of mistakes and doing some investments and really not knowing what I was doing until I decided that I was going to read and get some training. I have a fantastic uncle that is in that that arena of financing and investment, and so every year, at least once a year, he does a financial class for all of us as a family, for our family members. And so that's where I've learned a lot about investments and when to invest. But again, I am not a broker. I am not any of that. I do help and assist individuals with showing them strategies on how to plan their budgets and how to transition well, whether that is coming from a 9-to-5 and going to being an entrepreneur or a business owner, or if that is training in some other way. It might be transitioning rather in some other way. I have had to transition a whole lot in my life, and I just want to see you win. And so many of you also know that I have a curriculum called Superwoman. It's actually called Removing Your Superwoman's Cape. And in my book, Level Up, I speak a lot about how I was a superwoman and didn't even really know that I was being and had this superwoman syndrome. And somebody asked me the other day, is that real or is that something that you made up? Superwoman syndrome is very real. And basically what it is that when you are an individual, and there are supermen, I call them, we can just say superhero syndrome, but anybody that decides that they're going to put somebody else or something else before themselves, that wants to always get it right, to a certain extent, superhero syndrome are individuals that care about others, will put others before themselves, has a little bit of a perfectionism characteristic, but also just don't rest, don't spend time for themselves, don't think about the process of self-care. And that was me, she was me. And so I am an ex-superwoman, particularly when it comes to superwoman syndrome. And so one of the things that I do is that I help individuals find balance in their lives, mind, body, spirit, and soul. And when it comes to their own life course and getting their career trajectory to a place where they really want it to be without having to compromise their self, without having to compromise their relationships with their loved ones, and also just being present and knowing spiritually who they are and whose they are, because God lives within every one of us. And so that's really what my mantra is as I transition over to, a couple years, I'll be 50 years old. And so I know I'm still cute. And so that's my mantra right now. I want to really help individuals, but in particularly women that feel like they have to do it all, be it all, say it all, wear the right thing, wear, A-line or pencil skirts and, 3 to 4 or 5 inch heels on every single day. And so I want to just to listen. What helped you realize that you were living superwoman syndrome, and how did you begin to work yourself out of that place? Well, there's a couple things. I went through a divorce. That was one way where I just knew, and I kind of knew even before that. I think sometimes some things are really, really not 100% pedigree, but it's also what I saw with my grandmother. I talk about in one of the books that I wrote, Bruised but Not Broken it's called, and I talk about seeing my grandmother, Miss Catherine, work literally her fingers to the bone. I saw her work her fingers to the bone. She cleaned houses, then she had to come back and clean her own home, and she had 10 children. And myself, I stayed with my grandmother for almost 7 years. And so when I saw that, that became my example, to be honest with you. So what we see at a small and an early age, we begin to emulate rather. And I think that's one of the ways, that's one of the reasons why I became this. I want to see everybody happy. I want to see everybody well. I want to, and even, with my own, biological mom, she worked a lot. She worked a lot. She went to school, and I understand because she was trying to be successful, and she wanted to see her girls, because this was her girls when we moved here from Alabama to Wisconsin, and she wanted to see her girls do really well, but she also wanted to do well. So I think that's where I saw it. And then I think the third thing, which is really important, I thank you, Amadeus, for asking this question, because nobody has ever asked me this. So I thank you for us being in alignment this morning on the same wavelength. Was the other, when I went and got my undergrad degree, and then I didn't see individuals that looked like me, that were in corporate America, that had degrees, that understood what it was to be successful. And success is what you make it. My alignment of what success is very different from everybody else's. But I just felt like I had to do it all. And society tells us, and particularly we know for African American women and women of color, we have to work so much harder. And you may not like that answer, but it's absolutely true. So they tell us, get a degree. So we go and we get a degree. Then they tell us, work 3 to 5 years at, something that you really are passionate about. And I talk a little bit about passion versus talent. So we do that. And then they say, well, don't have children, right? I had my first child at 18. So for me, it wasn't about not having children. It was about, I had children. I got married at 18, right? Got pregnant at 17, got married at 18. And then it was, okay, you have this undergraduate degree, now go get another degree. It was just so much. It was ongoing, on and on and on. And to a point where I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't feel like anything that I did was enough. So, when you first go to school, they tell you that, it's going to take you 4 years to go and get a degree. Well, I got an undergraduate in 3 years. So then that still wasn't enough. So then I go and I work for a nonprofit. At that time, I was working for the Salvation Army. I loved that job. And then it was go back to school, because I wanted the best for myself and for my family. So I went back to school and got a master's degree. And then I realized once I transitioned into a different position, and then I was a stay-at-home mom. And hey, Anna, good morning, beautiful. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I homeschooled for a year and a half. And for me, it just wasn't enough. So it was a little bit of both, because I knew what I had within me, within my spirit, within my soul, right? I knew what I had in me, but I always knew that there was something greater for me to do. And so that mix of family, pedigree, my own self, and also what American society tells you to do. So once I got the master's degree, I was looking like, okay, what now? And then in my mind, and what I heard people say in corporate America, now just get the PhD. And it came to a point where I think I kind of woke up just a little bit. I think I kind of yarned a little bit. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And through all that process too, in 2005, I got very, very ill. Had something called, I had like a virus that I had contracted. Did not know that I had this virus. And I was just down, literally down. And it was a horrible situation. And then in 2006, I ended up finding out I had hyperactive thyroidism, and still working, doing my own thing. A lot of times we just, we're not living. We are walking and existing. And sometimes Most High will allow for us to get shaken And even though I was shaken in 2004, but not shaken to a point where, okay, I needed to make a change. I didn't see that change. I had a spouse that was a very great provider, and I was at home taking care of my children. I had a real estate business that was doing, pretty well, and we had other businesses that were doing, pretty well. But sometimes God has to allow for us to be shaken. And sometimes when we are hard-headed, he would say, you know what, I love you so much. Let me shake you. Let me allow you to get shaken one more time. So in 2007, 2006, I got shaken again with hyperactive thyroidism. And I lost a lot of weight. Actually, I lost 15 pounds in 9 days. And my children really, because they were young, and it's a great thing because I know I'm going to be forwarding this video over to other platforms, and so my children are on here. And I started just going through things that were internally, and I was very conservative. I'm not as conservative anymore, but I kept a lot of things in. I kept pain in. I kept the spirit of rejection. I kept that in. I did not want people to know really what I was going through. And it really was, what was happening was God was transforming me from the inside out. And so 2006, 2007, I had hyperactive thyroidism. I lost a tremendous amount of weight. Then the hyperactive thyroidism turned into Graves' disease, Graves. And my book, Level Up, the handbook to unleash your greatness, I speak a lot about this and about my story, and particularly when it comes to Superwoman syndrome and removing the Superwoman's cape. And so I went to the doctor, and they said, you have Graves' disease, and we need to do something. We totally need to do something, or you're going to die. And I never told my children. I never told my children that. When I went to the doctor, my doctor said to me, if you would have waited 2 weeks, you would have been dead. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I eventually listened to my body. That's the other thing about superhero syndrome. I call it superhero syndrome because men will experience the same thing. You'll hear a lot more about Superwoman syndrome just because of historically the woman's place and the things that she does, and particularly when it comes to being a pleaser and wanting to do things well for her children and for her family. And so I ended up having to have radiation to actually to remove my thyroid. And so it was a lot. And so I don't want to give everybody all that. You can read the book as well. Again, the book is called Level Up, the handbook to unleash your greatness. And so what I'm coming on today, so thank you, Amadeus, for asking me that question. It has truly been a process. It has truly been a process. And just to kind of end on your question, the other thing that happened was I began to experience, I was going to work, had this really great corporate America job, and doing my thing. I was very excited about what I was doing and my capabilities, being a grant writer and having a very significant staff that took me time to develop, but I knew that I was tired all the time. I started experiencing an extreme amount of headaches. I was going through a divorce, and I still was just not resting. I never paused. And if anybody that has gone through a divorce, it was excruciating. That's the only way I can tell you. But I'm here. I am here. But in 2013, I started experiencing excruciating headaches, migraines, as a matter of fact, to a point where it felt like it was like a pitchfork, like somebody was literally hitting me on my right side with a pitchfork, to a point that I was being blinded. I never said anything. And if you don't get anything else out of this video, I want you to get this. Talk to somebody. I did not speak to anybody about it. Nobody knew I was having migraines. Nobody knew that I was experiencing severe back pain. And I was experiencing the back pain because I wasn't drinking enough water, right? So your kidneys will tell on you. Your kidneys will tell on you. And so talk to somebody, y'all. You got to talk to somebody. Don't keep this stuff in. Don't do what I did. And I think that this is the reason why God allowed for me to survive such an atrocious amount of pain and agony. I do not play the victim. I'm nobody's victim. But what I will do is I will speak my truth. And this is my truth and my part of my story. And so one day I was going to work and I passed out. I literally passed out and found myself over on the side of a road. And you know how sometimes, and if you've ever passed out, and I pray that you haven't, you kind of know like you're getting ready to pass out. And so I found myself actually over at a gas station and passed out, just blacked out really. And I don't know how long. I'm sure it probably was just a couple of seconds or whatever. And what I should have done, I should have went home, right? But I did not. And so here's that superwoman syndrome. I'm big, I'm strong, I can do it. Let me just put some water on my face. Let me deep breathe, you know, because I was learning a lot about myself and, you know, doing some routine types of meditation and deep breathing. So I thought that that would help. Let me tell you something. When your body is telling you, girl, you better get to the doctor. But I chose that job over myself. I did. I chose that job over myself. And it wasn't the best thing. It wasn't the best thing. And I think, honestly, at times I chose that job over my family. I know that I did because that job gave me affirmation. It gave me support. I was very successful at what I was doing. And so the reason why I'm speaking about this is that if you are an individual, a man or a woman, that feel as though a job, a 9-to-5, even if you are a business owner and you are experiencing a great immense amount of stress and pressure, and your body will tell on you. Your body will tell you the truth. Your body will say you need to rest. Your body will say sit down. Your body will say you need to drink water. Your body will say through headaches and migraines, listen, the pressure is too much. You must do something about it. And we choose not to listen. I chose not to listen. And in November of 2013, from experiencing migraines, and I had to have all types of work done. And I ended up having a, yes, Amadeus, you're very welcome. Self-love is the best love. I love that. I love that. I'm going to quote you. By the way, I'm going to post that somewhere and I'll give you the credit for that. But in 2013, I ended up having a brain aneurysm, and that was it. I just listened. And I still did not go away. I still went into a hospital and to, you know, kicking and screaming. But I knew that I wanted to be there for my children. That was without a doubt. And so what I want you to possibly get from this is for you to self-care. And because today is Labor Day, if you have the capability of being off, rest and rest well, right? Rest well. Feed your body with greatness, fruits and vegetables, lots and lots of water. If you can do raw, that would be great. If you can cut down, I'll say, some of the carbs, that would be great too. But I also want to say to you is that take some time to meditate, right? Just to sit and relax, and to sit and just really think about absolutely nothing, right? And I think that that's really important. And deep breathing through your nose and out of your mouth. Do that for 5 seconds and holding it and then letting it escape, right? And so those things are very important. And so again, I want to say that Amadeus, thank you so much for for asking me this question, and it's been great. It's been real. So as we start off from start tomorrow, we have Shanice Hempfield. She will be coming on, and that is my Defeat to Triumph series that I'm actually doing this particular this month, for the month of September, and really speaking to individuals, hearing their stories on where they were defeated or they thought that they were defeated, and then something great and tremendous happened, because that's how God works. He's just, I tell you, God is Most High, is brilliant. He's brilliant. He's brilliant, brilliant. And so I want to encourage you to get some rest on today. Tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central, to Antoinette Marie Speaks, and our special guest is Shanice Hempfield. She's going to be speaking about how she thought she was defeated and how greatness came out of her life, how greatness came out of that defeat. And as always, if you have a spouse, a husband or a wife, please let them know that you love them. Let them know that your life, that their life is very important to you, and that you love them. Love, y'all, is a word, but it is a word of action. And show the people that you love in action that you love them. If you have children, let your children know that they are important to you, that they are important to you. I personally know that children are important to your lifespan, and they're very important to your pedigree. And so let your children know that you love them, and even if they may not come back and say the same thing, or even if you text them, or even if you send them something virtually, you don't have to do it for a reaction. I used to do that. I used to send my children information and like group texts, and I still do, but I don't wait for their response. I just do it because that is what me as a mom, me as a mother have been instructed to do. And so I love my children, and my children will be and already are very successful. I call it out from every cosmo atmosphere. I call it out. So so let your children know that you love them and that they are important to you and your lifespan. Join me tomorrow for Antoinette Marie Speaks. We again will be speaking about from defeat to triumph. This is Antoinette Marie. Welcome home. Now I have to figure out, how do I end this? Welcome home, beloved. Happy Labor Day. I'll see you tomorrow.